What is good, guys? It's Ray J back with another video. And this one I want to talk about what's happening in Tesla stock and break down the overall market. I'm also going to be talking about Cathie Wittes. There's been a lot of talk about how she's selling out of Tesla and all these things that are coming out. I want to break down why that's not necessarily the case. She's not necessarily selling all her Tesla shares. I'm going to show you guys her position and why on earth you shouldn't really worry too much about all these headlines and what people around the internet are saying. But before I break things down, let me just mention that I am not a financial planner. Make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. Anyways, for Tesla, I warned everyone about this 250 resistance and also this 253 area. You can see we kind of rejected off this 253 area during our pre-market session, came back down, popped a bit, then just continued to dip. And then Tesla shuffled at this 250 area to reject, came all the way down to 242. Now we're actually trying to rebound it back up to 250. But you could see how 250 is acting as this like tough resistance. We've been talking about this on this channel. And I told you all to be very careful here. I think Tesla will likely continue to shuffle at least very close to 250. But so far, it's going to be a very, very important level to watch for. Now, I wanted to just mention to everyone that Tesla's been continuing to rise. It's been it's up quite a bit so far. It's up over 40% at least relative to the past month. And it's up like crazy. It's just been pumping and pumping and pumping. So any portfolio manager that has a position that's running this hard, they're going to be locking in some profits. That's completely normal. That does not necessarily mean they don't believe in a company. That does not mean that they're giving up. They're simply just locking in profits, repositioning, putting money into different areas. It's going to be completely fine. And that's what Cathie Wood has been doing. So she sold about $15 million worth of the stock. People are going bananas. They're going berserk over there saying that she's giving up this and that. She's shorting Tesla. She's not actually shorting Tesla the way, people are saying she is. And she's not necessarily selling out of the stock the way you may think, because when you look at what's going on right now, she's still actually holding the large majority of her shares despite selling off only about 15 million. You might think that that's a lot, but this is completely normal behavior from these fund managers because, she saw other opportunities like Palantir started to actually buy a little bit up for that position. And then on top of this, if you look at her overall position right now, at least from ARK Invest, this is one of their important ETFs. Tesla is still their number one holding with a value of almost $1 billion. So it's a 15.3% weight in the overall valuation of ARK or ARK. And you guys could see that that's almost a $1 billion position. So you have $1 billion worth of stock. Okay, let's just say it runs 40%. Are you going to just keep holding it forever, or are you going to take out a tiny little position, like literally just like 1.5% of that, that $15 million position, a very, very tiny amount. And then you can start putting into other plays, buy other dips. That's completely normal. But if Cathie Wood is truly a hypocrite, if she's truly, you know, doesn't believe in Tesla and such, why is she still holding over close to $1 billion worth of Tesla shares right now? Why does she have the overall ETF has a weight of about 15.3%, at least just for Tesla? Why is that? What's going on? Why is Tesla necessarily such a very, very big component of ARK? And the answer is because Cathie Wood still believes in Tesla. She's a woman of her word. She's continuing to buy the dips. She will buy more dips if they end up coming. Because it ran so much, she reduced her position just by a teeny tiny amount. And they're kind of just repositioning their money, using it for hedging, doing all kinds of other things. That is completely normal. That's completely fine. Do not fall for just the headlines. They're saying she's selling $15 million worth of stock, which could imply so many different things, but it doesn't mention anywhere that she's actually holding close to $1 billion worth of it. That's the most important thing you have to remember. It's their number one holding. All right. So, anyways, at least for Tesla, I just want to mention we have this 250 resistance area. If this breaks, I'll be looking at 252.8 to 253. And if we end up dipping back down, watch 248 followed by 245.4. Overall, we're holding it very well in this range. And I think that Tesla's going to try to get close to 250 again, kind of consolidates a bit in this range right here. So I find that to be the most likely possibility. But just remember that 250 is going to be a tight level. We'll just have to see how things develop from here. For SPY has been pumping like crazy. We actually broke all-time highs. We broke past 552, so now we're approaching 553.5 to 554. That's going to be a very, very important range. SPY remains very bullish, trying to break out. I mentioned to everyone to be careful with SPY, especially as we approach 552. You guys can see we were shuffling around here, but now we're starting to break out again. It's continuing to run, so it still looks very bullish, and there's no sign of SPY breaking down. It still looks bullish. 554 is a strong possibility, and so far, so good. For Nvidia, Nvidia is pumping quite a bit. It actually pumped all the way up to about this 130 area, only to reject back down. I'll be watching the 125 zone to see how well it holds up here, and then 127 is resistance, followed by 130. If we end up dipping lower, I'll be looking at 125. If we lose this, we'll be dipping all the way down to about 122. And if we continue to hold up, I'll be looking for this thing to shuffle very close to these key EMAs around 127. I think that's what Nvidia is going to most likely do, so I'll be watching that very carefully. For Bitcoin, we dipped all the way down to 54,000. We're attempting to rebound. We're about to test this previous support becoming resistance at 56,800. So I'll be watching to see how this ends up developing, how this ends up moving right over here. I'll be watching this just to see how things move. If we reject here, we'll be coming back down. If we break through this, we'll be pushing back up. So I'll be watching this just to be safe. So make sure you're very, very conscious of that. For a couple more out there, we also have the QQQ. Let me just double check this. QQQ is breaking out right now. We're actually above the 494 area. We're continuing to pump, and I think that if we could close above 495, we might get very close to about 500 on the QQQ, which is pretty insane. So I'll be watching this 495 area. This is going to be a very important area of interest. We will have to see if we could hold above 495, at least for now. I think so far we're looking pretty good. And I think that at least moving forward, we'll be watching our next resistance. The next zone we're worth watching for in the Fibonacci retracement scale is going to be very close to about 496. If we break that, I'll be watching 498. So we're looking bullish. These are some key fib levels, and we're looking very, very strong right now on the triple Q. What else is fueling this is Apple. Apple's broken all-time highs, hitting 225. If we break through this, I'll be looking at, once again, another new all-time high to develop, and then we'll be going all the way up to about 227 next if we end up breaking past 225. So we're looking very bullish on Apple, continuing to break out of this wedge. It's still pushing, so I'll be watching for that. For Supermicro, we were supposed to try to hold this support where this trend line was. We actually kind of rejected off of this. So now we're barely at 830. If we lose that, I'll be looking for a move all the way back down to 820. That's where our key support is. Watch 820. If we lose that, then yes, 800 is likely coming. So I'm seeing a little bit of weakness on Supermicro, but watch that support. So far, it's holding up. Coinbase dipped quite a bit. It's trying to rebound to fill this gap, which is great and all. But the problem is we're about to get a test of this trend line. If we break through the trend line, we could try to push back up to 225. If we reject off this trend line, we could continue lower. And there is still a risk of downside on this. This is not necessarily bullish. It's just trying to recover a bit, but watch resistance. We'll see if we get a rejection or not. Very close to 223. Let's see how we fill this gap. I think we might fill this gap, but just be careful of this trend line. We'll see if we close above or below it. If we close below it, be careful. We're in a very, very critical place. For Amazon, we held above 198, so our resistance is at 200. If we close above this, I'll be looking at a target of 202. If we reject here, we'll be dipping back down to about 198. I think that this is looking more bullish, so we'll see if 200 holds. For Meta, we're looking more bullish right here as well. We'll be watching, this nice breakout that just ended up coming into Meta. We actually had some bullish news that came out. So we've broken past this resistance at 523. So we have a nice breakout on the chart, and we're just continuing to run right here. So I'm going to be watching this resistance up here. I was looking at 536 as a very, very key resistance zone. And we also have the support to watch for right where this bar happens to be. We have 527, 530 as areas of interest. I'm watching all of these. But for now, watch 527. This is going to be our support right here. We'll have to see how well it holds above that. And also at 530, those are going to be our areas of interest that I'm watching. And in my personal opinion, I think that there's a good chance that Meta will dip a little bit, just retrace a bit to about 530 flat, and then we'll see if we get a bounce off that or not. I'll be looking to see if we get a bounce. If we don't, look for 527, but overall, it's still bullish. Overall, the trend is still very strong. Microsoft has broken all-time highs. It's also broken my resistance around this 462 area. So now our target is going to be up here at 468. I'll be watching to see if we can try to break out towards that area. And watch support at 464. There's going to be some key levels on Microsoft. It's still looking very bullish, getting a nice break. Google's also breaking past this 188 resistance that we mentioned. So now we're approaching new all-time highs. I think that we're going to be looking for 192.5 as a potential target. So I'll be watching this 192 area. That's going to be very important, at least for us. If that breaks, we could be going all the way up to 194. So I'll be watching to see if we end up getting that breakout. We have support at 190, so we'll see how things go. But this is looking more bullish in my personal opinion. So that being said, the market is very bullish. We're actually breaking out very nicely. SPY is squeezing. And as for Tesla, we're going to be testing 250 again, so we'll watch and see how it reacts to that resistance. But I think there's going to be a lot of shuffling in that area. Tesla could still rebound and push later, but we have to try to break past 253 to turn bullish. Otherwise, we're going to likely continue to shuffle near 250. So I'll give it some time and see how it goes. With that being said, thank you for listening. Have a great day and peace out.